You ever look a life so glossy, so perfectly lit, you swear it must taste like privilege and honey then, one day, find out it's held together by secrets and contracts, not trust? Yeah, that was Pearl Cosm's world. Imagine growing up under crystal chandeliers, birthday gifts worth more than most people's houses, never needing to ask twice for anything except maybe a little peace. Her dad, Chief Cosm, the oil tycoon, ruled half of Lagos and adored her like a crown jewel. Every move she made was calculated ballerina poise, Oxford law degree, never a hair out of place, the kind of daughter you put on magazine covers when the world's watching. But for all the luxury and power, Pearl learned early love was a fairy tale, reputation was the throne, and trust, well, that was a game nobody taught her to play. So when the roof caved in that Monday morning, her father's face splashed all over the news, accused of embezzlement, bribery, you name it, Pearl didn't panic, at least not on the outside. She tried to spin it, silence the whispers, but the damage was done. The name Cosm, once a golden ticket, was suddenly radioactive. Friends disappeared, calls went unanswered. But the real shocker? The people her dad had crossed weren't just rich, they were dangerous. Men who erased problems for breakfast. One of them, Senator Danjuma, had every reason to bury Chief Cosm. But instead, he offered a deal, one that landed straight on Pearl's perfectly manicured lap. Enter Khalifa Danjuma, the senator's son. Now, if Pearl was the darling of Lagos, Khalifa was the city's mystery Cambridge degrees, business acumen, soulful eyes, but never in the headlines, never chasing clout. He lived quietly, painted more than he partied, ran his father's logistics firms with invisible precision, and avoided the spotlight like it was poison. So, of course, these two strangers became the centerpiece of a high society marriage contract, Pearl's hand in marriage, in exchange for her father's freedom. Neither of them wanted it, but legacy, duty, those things never ask what you want. The first time Pearl and Khalifa met in person, it was at the Sapphire Towers. She walked in like she owned the city, nerves coiled under designer silk. Khalifa barely looked up from his espresso. There was no romance, just an ice-cold negotiation. 3 years. Joint appearances, keep up the image, don't ask, don't tell. If you date, do it discreetly. This is absurd, Pearl muttered, and Khalifa agreed, but here they were. 2 signatures later, her life was sold to protect a name, his presence loaned to fix a legacy. She poured herself a glass of wine that night, staring at the contract. 3 years with a stranger. It wasn't marriage. It was war. Their wedding became the talk of the season. Pearl glided down the aisle, every camera in Lagos capturing her as regal and flawless as a queen, but behind those cold hazel eyes was a woman holding her world together by sheer will. Khalifa was stoic, handsome in charcoal gray, not smiling, just accepting his role in the family's chess game. Their vows were polished, brief. No kiss, no intimacy. Just 2 dynasties merging under the weight of public expectation. But when the doors closed, the spectacle faded. Khalifa's home surprised Pearl, not a mausoleum of power, but a quiet, art-filled villa on Banana Island. He lived simply, with only his dog for company. He offered her a guest room, a credit card, a new SIM for appearances. He said, "You're free the rest of the time." It threw her off. No demands, no drama. For the first time, she saw depth where she expected detachment. The first few weeks were all choreography, smiles for the cameras, separate lives behind closed doors, the perfect performance. And yet, tiny cracks started to show. Their first public test came at a gala swirl of politicians, influencers, the city's elite. Khalifa, usually invisible, stood by her side. When Sasha Bello, the infamous beauty queen, threw a backhanded compliment Pearl's way, Khalifa stepped in, not with anger, but with quiet power. "Pearl doesn't need filters or followers to prove her worth," he said, right there in front of everyone. For Pearl, it was the first time anyone had ever stood up for her in public, no strings attached. That night, back at home, something shifted. She told him, "You didn't have to defend me," and he said, "Maybe you shouldn't have to be alone in this anymore. Not love, not yet, but respect the beginning of something real." And just like that, The media pivoted, Khalifa Danjuma effect, they called it. Suddenly, he was the man of mystery turned protector, Pearl's silent force. Photos of them together, stories of their connection, flooded blogs and news feeds. But at home, their routine stayed quiet until one night. Pearl found Khalifa painting her portrait, not posed, but real caught off guard, barefoot, human. "No one's ever seen me like this," she whispered. And he said, "That's because they don't look." She realized then, he wasn't just a shield, he saw her. Really saw her. The twist came at a business retreat. Away from Lagos, surrounded by powerful women drawn to Khalifa, Pearl felt a new kind of jealousy, something raw, unguarded. Later that night, she confessed it. "I'm not used to feeling this way," she said. Khalifa, surprised her, hadn't been with anyone since the contract began. "Because somewhere between pretending, I started wanting this to be real," he admitted, his voice rough. For the first time, they let go of the distance, letting closeness happen. The night was slow, reverent, two people giving in, not for show, but because they wanted to. In the morning, neither had to pretend anymore. But life, always find a way to test you. One night, a blackmail threat arrived, an envelope under the gate, a flash drive, a demand for N100 million or her father's secrets go public. Pearl panicked, Khalifa didn't. He moved with a kind of cold efficiency she'd never seen, locking down the villa, tracing the source, leveraging connections until the blackmailer was caught and arrested. He told her, "You're not just my contract anymore, Pearl. You're my person." That night, she realized her heart wasn't armored anymore, she was in love. When she told Khalifa, he didn't hesitate. "I love you too. You're not a trophy. You're the win." From that moment, the contract meant nothing. They tore it up together, laughter and tears mixing as paper fluttered around them. They chose each other freely, fully. In the months that followed, their partnership blossomed. Pearl launched a program for girls in law. Khalifa brought her into his business ventures. The world saw a power couple hand in hand, truly smiling now, not just posing. When the dust settled, the Kazem name was restored, her father's charges dropped. The old wounds healed, new roots took hold. But the most cinematic moment? On a candlelit rooftop, Khalifa finally proposed, not as a business deal, but as a man choosing his partner. Pearl, tears in her eyes, said yes 1,000 times yes. They married again, privately by the sea, handwritten vows, real promises. Years later, their home echoed with laughter, children running in the garden. Khalifa softer, happier, Pearl radiant and barefoot. Life wasn't perfect. There were storms, fights, moments of doubt, but every time, they chose each other again and again. So what do you take from all this? That sometimes the contracts we sign to save our families end up saving us in ways we never imagined. That love can grow out of duty, respect out of silence, and real partnership out of broken beginnings. Or maybe, just maybe, we're all a little bit like Pearl and Khalifa, learning to let go of who we're supposed to be so we can become who we're meant to be together. Now, I'd love to know, after all this drama, where do you stand? Does love built on circumstance last? Or is it all just another kind of contract? Share your thoughts below, because stories like this, well, they're only just getting started.